The landscape of news is often fraught with tension, especially in conflict zones. Recently, a significant disagreement erupted between the BBC and the White House over Gaza coverage. The core of this disagreement touches upon journalistic responsibility to report accurately and impartially. The White House, under President Trump, has voiced strong criticisms, while the BBC has robustly defended its work. The principles of free press and the public's right to know are at stake. The free flow of verified information is crucial for the global public to understand the reality of war and hold power to account. This clash over Gaza coverage serves as a stark reminder of these enduring truths. The White House, through Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, leveled serious accusations against the BBC. One claim was that the BBC took down a Gaza story under pressure. Leavitt also criticized BBC's reporting on a Rafah shooting. She suggested BBC relied on Hamas, implying bias. Another issue was changing casualty figures. The White House aimed to undermine BBC's credibility. The BBC had a different account, which we will explore next. The BBC responded directly and firmly to the White House's allegations. Regarding the claim of taking down a story about Gaza, the BBC stated this was completely wrong. The corporation was unequivocal in its denial, asserting it stood by its journalism. The BBC's statement underscored its commitment to its published work on the Gaza conflict. On the matter of changing casualty figures, the BBC explained that updating figures throughout the day is standard practice. Initial reports often come from various sources and figures are revised as more information becomes available. The BBC emphasized that these numbers were always clearly attributed. The BBC also addressed the accusation about removing a separate story due to a lack of evidence. The corporation clarified that this referred to a BBC Verify report investigating a viral video. The BBC stated, conflating these two stories is simply misleading. The BBC's defense was about reaffirming its dedication to the core principles of journalism. This includes seeking truth and reporting it, even when it is difficult or unpopular. Reporting from Gaza is immensely challenging due to severe restrictions on access. The Israeli authorities do not currently allow international news organizations, including the BBC, into Gaza. Without journalists on the ground, it is extremely difficult to independently verify events. We rely heavily on local Palestinian journalists, who work under perilous conditions, and information from officials, NGOs, and eyewitnesses. These access restrictions have profound implications for how the world understands the conflict. When independent international journalists are barred, the information flow is constrained and more susceptible to control or influence. The BBC has called for the White House's support for immediate and unfettered access for international journalists into Gaza. Open access is crucial for transparency and accountability, allowing for more comprehensive and nuanced reporting. The challenges of reporting from Gaza are immense, and the denial of access only exacerbates them. The BBC remains committed to its mission to report the facts despite all obstacles. The latest phase of the devastating conflict began on October 7, 2023, with a cross-border attack by Hamas on Israel. This event triggered Israel's extensive military campaign in the Gaza Strip, with catastrophic consequences for the civilian population. According to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, at least 54,470 people have been killed since October 7, 2023. Reporting these numbers, with clear attribution, is a fundamental duty of journalism. The difficulties in verifying events are persistent, with conflicting narratives emerging from deadly incidents. For instance, local officials in Gaza reported that Israeli forces fired at civilians collecting aid, while the IDF offered a different account. The role of credible, independent journalism in conflict zones cannot be overstated. The clash between the BBC and the White House over Gaza coverage highlights the profound challenges of reporting the truth. Without the ability for journalists to operate freely and safely, the full story of what is happening in places like Gaza remains obscured. The international community's understanding is thereby diminished. The BBC remains committed to its mission, to seek out and report the facts, to provide context, and to give voice to those affected by conflict. The pursuit of truth in wartime is a difficult but essential endeavor.